50,000 tons. Read that number again, because your brain just skipped past it the way it skips past most big numbers on the internet. That's roughly the weight of 10 fully loaded Boeing 747s, compressed into a single machine, squeezing molten metal with something close to the force of the Eiffel Tower. And here's the detail that should stop you cold. Tesla isn't building this monster to make bigger cars. It's building it to make the smallest, cheapest car in the company's entire lineup.
The thing that's most interesting about this is it's a production system. It's a level of production technology that is far in advance of any automotive plant on Earth.
That doesn't add up. Not at first. So stick around, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand something most car channels, and honestly, most car engineers are still catching up on. This isn't a story about a machine. It's a story about Tesla quietly deciding that the word factory doesn't mean what it used to mean. And once you see what's parked in rows at Giga Texas right now, gold, driverless, and multiplying by the week, you'll understand exactly why. Let's go back to where this started, because the origin of this machine is stranger than people remember. When Tesla was designing the Model Y, engineers had one obsession: take the underbody of the car, something normally welded together from around 70 separate stamped pieces, and replace all of it with a single slab of cast aluminum. Great idea. One small problem: nothing on Earth could actually do it. Musk called die casting manufacturers around the globe, and one by one, they all said some version of the same thing. Not possible at that size. Then Tesla found Idra, a relatively small Italian manufacturer that had, almost by accident of timing, been quietly developing an enormous high-pressure die casting machine with no obvious customer in mind. That machine became the first Gigapress, and it didn't just build a car part. It rewrote how Tesla thought about building cars at all. Here's the process, stripped down to what actually matters. Aluminum alloy gets melted at extreme heat inside a furnace. Once it's fully liquid, it gets fired into a steel mold shaped exactly like the part Tesla wants. Speed here isn't a nice to have, it's everything. Inject too fast, and tiny air pockets get trapped inside the metal, quietly weakening it from the inside. Inject too slow, and the aluminum starts hardening before it fills every last corner of the mold, ruining the shot completely. Nail that balance thousands of times a day, and you've solved one of the hardest problems in modern manufacturing. Once the mold fills, a cooling system brings the temperature down evenly, because uneven cooling hides weak spots you won't see until the part fails later. Then robotic arms lift the casting free, trim the rough edges, and send it off to be inspected before it ever touches an assembly line. The payoff is bigger than it sounds. One giant casting replaces dozens, sometimes hundreds, of smaller welded pieces. Fewer welds means fewer weak points. Fewer weak points means a stiffer structure that behaves like one continuous piece of metal instead of a patchwork held together by seams. That translates into better handling, quieter cabins, more predictable crash behavior, and a manufacturing line that needs far less labor and far less time. That combination is exactly why Giga Casting stopped being Tesla's private trick and became the whole industry's fixation. GM is chasing it, Hyundai is chasing it, Volvo, Saker, and XPeng are all pouring money into machines of their own, with XPeng reportedly working on a casting press in the 16,000-ton range. So naturally, everyone assumed the next chapter of this story was a tonnage arms race. 20,000, maybe 30? If a competitor wanted headlines, then Musk dropped a number that made engineers across the industry stop scrolling and read the sentence twice. 50,000 tons. Not a moonshot with no timeline attached. An actual target Tesla is building toward right now. And worth saying clearly, this particular number and the wilder claims around it are still coming largely from Musk himself and from enthusiast trackers watching the factory from the outside, not from a formal Tesla spec sheet. Keep that in mind as we go, because it matters. Here's the part that genuinely surprised me. The core process inside a 50,000-ton Gigapress isn't some totally different beast from a 6,000 or 9,000-ton machine. Melt it, inject it, cool it, eject it. Same 4 steps. What changes is scale, precision, and above all, speed. The goal Tesla has talked about is a full casting cycle measured in single-digit seconds. Fast enough that the line reportedly needs to be kept clear of people nearby, simply because nothing human-paced belongs that close to it. Whether the final number lands at 5 seconds or somewhere close to it, the direction is the same. This stops looking like an assembly line and starts looking like something built to manufacture phones. Except each unit weighs a few thousand pounds instead of a few hundred grams. Now here's where the physical engineering turns into something you can actually count. Tesla and multiple outlets covering the Cybercab have pointed to a drop from roughly 200 major structural components on the Model Y down to somewhere around 80 on the Cybercab. That's not a minor efficiency tweak. That's cutting structural complexity by more than half. For over a century, cars have been built the same fundamental way. Hundreds of stamped panels bolted, welded, and riveted together. And every single joint is a future point of fatigue, corrosion, or failure. Tesla flips that on its head. Large sections of the Cybercab exist as one unified casting from the moment they're born. Not assembled from parts after the fact, fewer joints, a stiffer chassis, more predictable behavior in a crash. In a world where autonomous vehicles eventually need to behave with mechanical consistency down to the millimeter, that kind of structural uniformity might end up mattering more than horsepower ever did. And if you think Tesla stopped at the metal, they didn't, because next they went after the paint shop. And this is where it gets genuinely strange. Painting a car is one of the slowest, most expensive, and most environmentally damaging stages of building one. Massive floor space, huge energy draw, multiple separate coating stages just to get an even finish. So Tesla's engineers asked a question most of the industry never seriously entertained. What if you just never painted the car at all? Tesla filed patents to describe building color directly into the material during the molding process itself. So the panel comes out of the mold already finished. If you've looked closely at recent Cybertruck deliveries, you may have already spotted the clue. Newer units look noticeably glossier than the early matte prototypes. A strong hint Tesla is actively moving this from patent to production floor. And the math explains why they'd bother. Tesla says its reaction injection molding process for colored panels cuts processing time from hours down to minutes, trims greenhouse gas emissions across that part of the supply chain by roughly 35%, and eliminates the toxic volatile organic compound emissions that traditional automotive paint is famous for. If this is the kind of behind-the-scenes Tesla breakdown you actually want more of, hit subscribe now, because what's happening on the ground at Giga Texas this month is even wilder than the machine that builds it. Because here's where theory turns into something you can watch with your own eyes. No speculation required. Drone footage captured on July 18th showed 245 Cybercabs staged in rows across Gigafactory Texas. A real, independently confirmed count from aerial tracking accounts. More than double the 102 units spotted just 5 weeks earlier. That's not a rumor. That's a documented jump of over 140% in about a month. Before this, more than 100 Cybercabs were already shuttling employees quietly around the factory campus, racking up real testing miles with zero press release attached. Tesla's Cybercab and Robotaxi engineering lead has said he personally logged dozens of internal rides in just a few days. That number sounds small next to the millions of taxi trips happening worldwide every day. It isn't the point. The point is that every one of those rides happened in a vehicle that was never built with a human driver in mind at all. No steering wheel, no pedals, no fallback if something goes wrong. Musk has publicly confirmed, directly on social media, that Tesla plans to sell a Cybercab to an actual customer for under $30,000 before the end of 2027, even if the timeline slips, and Tesla timelines have a well-earned reputation for slipping. The underlying number doesn't change much. A dedicated, purpose-built robotaxi for less than the price of a loaded pickup truck would reset the economics of ride-hailing overnight. Now let's talk about what makes this vehicle different, because the Cybercab is not a Model 3 with the steering wheel deleted. It's built from the ground up on Tesla's next-generation platform. Around one single idea, nobody needs to be able to drive it. Every conventional car carries the cost and weight of accommodating a human operator, a steering column, pedals, an instrument cluster, mirrors, warning systems, all of it. Delete the requirement for a human driver, and you delete an entire category of parts, wiring, and potential failure points along with it. And this is where the numbers stop being marketing and start being regulatory fact. According to EPA certification documents filed and confirmed in June 2026, the Cybercab has a curb weight of 3,113 pounds, roughly 700 to 750 pounds lighter than a standard Model 3. It runs a 219 horsepower motor driving the front wheels only. A real departure from Tesla's usual rear or dual motor layouts. Paired with a compact 48 kilowatt-hour battery. Small pack. But thanks to that lighter body and tighter aerodynamics, the EPA filing points to somewhere around 290 to 300 miles of real-world range, which is a genuinely strong number for a battery that size. Here's why that trade-off actually makes sense once you think about who's riding in this thing. A private buyer wants maximum range for peace of mind. Even if 90% of their driving is short hops across town, a robotaxi doesn't need emotional reassurance. It needs to know exactly when to charge, when to stay out earning fares, and how to squeeze the most value out of every kilowatt hour. The same EPA data puts the Cybercab's efficiency at roughly 6.1 miles per kilowatt hour, translating to somewhere near 165 watt-hours per mile under favorable conditions. If that holds up at fleet scale, this could end up being one of the most energy-efficient production vehicles ever built, potentially close to double the efficiency of a Model 3 or Model Y. In a business where a robotaxi might work 12, 16, even 20 hours a day instead of the 1 or 2 a private car typically sees, small efficiency gains compound fast once you multiply them across hundreds of thousands of miles. But here's the honest problem sitting underneath all of this impressive hardware. And it's the one nobody in the marketing materials wants to say out loud. What happens the very first time a stranger climbs into a cybercab and realizes there is genuinely nothing, and no one that can take over if something feels wrong? Tesla can build all the hardware in the world. The deciding factor for whether this thing can legally operate on public roads is software. And unlike full self-driving on a normal car, where a human is always the backstop, a vehicle with no steering wheel can't just perform well most of the time. It has to be reliable enough to handle every situation on every trip with zero human override. That's exactly why Tesla is running this internally first, inside the fenced-off environment of the Giga Texas campus, before letting a single unsupervised trip happen on a public street. Then there's the problem every rideshare passenger has quietly worried about, but rarely says out loud. Who cleans the car when there's no driver to check the back seat? Regulatory filings around Tesla's Austin Robotaxi hub, completed in March 2026, confirm an automated cleaning robot is already installed and operating there. Alongside a wash system, Cybercabs can drive through on their own between rides. Tesla has also filed a real, published patent, publicly available through the World Intellectual Property Organization, for a robotaxi sanitization system using UV light, targeted heat, and even a disinfectant vapor to kill bacteria and pathogens between passengers, all without a single human involved. The exact hardware Tesla ends up shipping in that cleaning robot hasn't been fully detailed publicly, so treat the specifics as evolving rather than locked in. But the underlying system, autonomous interior cleaning plus UV disinfection, is confirmed, patented, and already running at the Austin hub today. Put every piece of this together and you start to see the real shape of what Tesla's building. And it's bigger than any single machine or any single car. It's a closed loop, a 50,000-ton press aiming to cast most of a vehicle's structure in a matter of seconds. Color built directly into body panels, so the paint shop simply stops existing. A fleet of purpose-built robotaxis, 245 of them and climbing fast, that clean themselves, charge themselves, and dispatch themselves with no human touching the process at any point. None of this guarantees Tesla hits every date it announces. This is a company with a well-documented habit of ambitious timelines sliding by months, sometimes years, but the parts of this story that can actually be verified right now, the EPA specs, the drone counts, the published patents, aren't speculation dressed up as news. They're sitting in a parking lot in Texas today, and the number keeps climbing every week someone flies a drone over it. So here's the real question this whole video has been building toward. It was never really whether Tesla could build a car without a steering wheel. It's whether the rest of the industry can figure out how to compete with a company that just decided the traditional car factory itself was the thing holding everyone back. If that 50,000-ton Gigapress gets anywhere close to its target cycle time, the manufacturing cost gap between Tesla and everyone else isn't going to shrink. It's going to blow wide open. And most of the industry still isn't fully prepared for what that means. If this actually helped you understand what's happening behind the scenes at Tesla right now, subscribe. Because next we're breaking down exactly how Tesla plans to keep a Cybercab earning money almost around the clock, cleaning, charging, and dispatching itself, without a single person managing any of it.